Jai Hind everyone, I welcome you to this special episode of Mains Darpan. In this episode of Mains Darpan, we will be analyzing the topper's copy of All India Rank 1 Aditya Srivastav, who has written a MGP test of Forum IAS. The entire credits of this test and the topper's copy goes to the Forum IAS and Aditya Srivastav sir. We will be learning from the topper's copy and how to mold our answers into the best answers in order to score highest in GS paper 2. Aditya Srivastav sir has also had one of the highest marks, so let us analyze and let us make good conclusions and make use of the topper's copies in order to improve ourselves. So we start from here. The question number 1 says fundamental rights chapter of the constitution is the north star of the universe of constitutionalism. Alright, fundamental rights is the north star. How fundamental rights guides constitutionalism? So sir has written fundamental rights are enshrined in article 14 to 32 of the Constitution of India, and they act as north star because they help promote the ideal of political democracy. Alright, this is a very good point. This is also a very logical point from the purview of the question, so it is adhering to the question. Now see point number 2, promote equity and liberty via article 14 to 18 and 19 to 22. Promote the ideals of preamble. Okay, this is also very crisp point. What ideals of preamble? Liberty, equality, fraternity, all of them. So that is there. How liberty is ensured? Article 19. Equality is ensured? Article 21. Article 21, right to life. Equality is ensured? Article 15, Article 16. Alright, prevent arbitrariness of the executive or legislature. He has also given an example of Meneka case. So we can give good examples where Supreme Court called for due process of law. From procedure established by law to due process of law. So what are our key points? Preventing arbitrariness, equality and liberty, political democracy. Okay, social harmony and protecting the weaker sections. Living Tree Doctrine, Article 17 and Sabarimala case. Fundamental rights not guiding constitutionalism. Now let's see the another aspect of the question, because we have to examine. So North Star, this is the first aspect. Now the second aspect is not guiding constitutionalism. They aren't sacrosanct and can be repealed. Keshavanand Bharati case. They are not absolute and they have reasonable restrictions like contempt of court is there, defamation is there, article 19(2) is there, all of that is there. Directive principles pointing what is it saying? Gaining prominence over them. So DPSP is also gaining prominence over, of course, the various articles, and we saw the first case wherein the very first schedule was there. So article 39B and C, over article 14 and article 19. So this can be one of the subjective thing which we can think of. Apart from that, upholding gender equality above the right of freedom of religion. Shaira Bano case. How does it uphold gender equality above freedom of religion? Freedom of religion article 29-30 are cultural and educational rights. So what do we have? We have 25. Alright, so gender equality is a must. So gender equality is one of the DPSP we have to strive for, gender equality and non-discrimination, and that is one of the USDR also, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So despite this, fundamental rights are the hallmark of personal liberty and must be upheld for the spirit of constitutionalism. So this is a fair conclusion. What does this answer suggest? That firstly we have to talk about the fundamental rights as a north star. They promote political democracy, equality, liberty. They prevent arbitrariness, social harmony. All the points are adequately mentioned. Example is also given. They promote harmony and protect weaker sections. Example, Living Tree Doctrine expanding article 17 in Sabarimala case. So Living Tree Doctrine is there. They are promoting a lot of cohesiveness, a lot of social harmony, and article 17 we can see Sabarimala case. So it is very important now. Alright, what is article 17? Prevention of untouchability. Abolition of titles except military and academic is article 18 if I'm not wrong. So article 16 should be there, but he has mentioned 17. Okay, you must just learn from the presentation, the way it is written, and the way other points which are like this point, they aren't sacrosanct and can be repealed. Keshavanand Bharati case, the case law is mentioned in the first stance. So this should be noted. The conclusion is very fair. Despite this, fundamental rights are the hallmarks of personal liberty and must be upheld for the spirit of constitutionalism. Now let us learn from the second question. If there's something to learn, we will try to imbibe the good qualities. Alright, just because a person is offended by someone's speech or word, it does not mean that offense has been committed. Alright, just because person is offended, it does not mean an offense has been committed. In this context, discuss the issue surrounding the use of section 295A and 193A of IPC. See, 295A and 193A of Indian Penal Code. Now that has to be remembered. Hate speech has been a prominent issue in recent times, seen with the case of what is this? Blasphemy. Yes, Prophet's blasphemy was there. There was Charlie Hebdo paper. So recent times as Prophet's blasphemy. This is a very good introduction. He remembered it at that time. He hate speech. Okay, I can write this. So Prophet blasphemy. Prophet blasphemy. You remember it with hate speech. What will I connect? I can connect hate speech with Prophet blasphemy. The moment I get the question, what will I do? I will connect hate speech with this. Might help me. Alright, this might help me in framing a very good introduction. Why not? Issues with hate speech not clearly defined anywhere. कहीं डिफाइंड है हेट स्पीच? नहीं है डिफाइंड. ओपन टू मिस यूज, वेरी ओपन टू मिस यूज है ना. हेट स्पीच इज नॉट डिफाइंड एनीवेयर. सो हियर कम्स आर नीड फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन. 295A and 193 of IPC. You want me to mention what do they actually mention? I'll tell you. See, infringes right to free speech, article 19 1A. ठीक है, right to free speech तो क्या है? 1A है, पता है अपन को. वेग डेफिनेशन है सेक्शन 295A. सेक्शन 295A देखो, blasphemy, and section 153A, enmity between the groups. Example, respect word not defined, section 295A. सेक्शन 295A में रिस्पेक्ट वर्ड इज नॉट डिफाइंड. ठीक है, ब्लास्फेमी है, वेग डेफिनेशन से, एनिमिटी बिटवीन ग्रुप्स है सेक्शन 153A में. ठीक है, तो ब्लास्फेमी किस में? 293A में. और 153 में ए में क्या है? एनिमिटी बिटवीन ग्रुप्स. यू कैन जस्ट टेक अ फेयर आइडिया दैट दीज थिंग्स आर मेंशन. वील क्रॉस चेक. ऑलराइट, infringes the role of media as a fourth pillar of democracy, of course. So India ranks what? World Press Freedom Index. We can write the rankings. Who releases the World Press Freedom Index? Tell me in the comment section. See, the rank is what? 142 out of 180. ठीक है, that is the rank. So herein we can mention it as an example. There is a lot of scope of improvement. Rank of tolerance, so lack of tolerance in society is seen in Udaipur murder case. Udaipur murder case is also very latest from that point of view, when the topper would have been writing the answer. Alright, yet section what? 295A and 153 are essential to punish miscreants, to uphold the preamble's aim of fraternity. That is very important. Fraternity is mentioned, preamble is mentioned. These 2 points are very important. Create social harmony and respect for all religions. See the structuring of the answer. Issues with hate speech है ना, just it does not mean that the offense is committed. Issues with hate speech, 1 2 3 4, all the points. First issue, not defined anywhere. Second issue, what has he written? Infringes on right to free speech. Alright, third issue, there are vague definitions. Fourth issue, the rank is being mentioned, and role of media as the fourth pillar of democracy, that is being mentioned. So that is a very qualitative point. Okay, so what are the points? Not clearly defined, infringes on free speech, vague definitions, infringes on the role of media, lack of tolerance, Udaipur murder case. These are certain issues with free speech. Now these sections, yet is written, yet these sections eraser nahi dabra. Yet these sections are important to punish miscredents for preamble's aim of fraternity and create social harmony, uphold respect for all religions, and for positive secularism. This is very important. Alright, what is the way ahead? Adopt new law commissions, new comprehensive Law Commission's comprehensive definition of hate speech in section 295A and 153A. This is the way ahead. Balance between fundamental rights, only reasonable restrictions to be put. This will help in upholding Voltaire's "I may not agree with you, but I will always defend till my death your right to say it." I may not agree with you, but I will defend till death your right to say it. So a quote is mentioned that when I have hate speech, why don't I mention Voltaire? Alright, this is okay. Voltaire का what quote was there? Even if I don't agree with you, I will defend till death your right to say it. Alright, you should say it. चलो आगे बढ़े. Where were we? We were here on hate speech. We have done hate speech. The question was regarding, even if you are, see, it does not mean that the offense has been committed. Alright, this is the problem. This is the issue. Issues surrounding the use of section 295A and 153A of IPC. At present, a comparative analysis of political system of India and Sri Lanka. Present a comparative analysis. This is our question. Present a comparative analysis of political systems of India and Sri Lanka. You know about the political system. Semi-presidential होगा Sri Lanka में, India में क्या होगा? Parliamentary. Okay. How far do you agree that the reason for economic crisis in Sri Lanka lies in its political structure? How far do you agree? Political structure में कैसे economic crisis का reason lie करता है? Let us see what this topper has written. Sri Lankan crisis presented a gloomy picture of what populism and lack of political scrutiny can do to a nation. Alright, populism and lack of political scrutiny can do to a nation. It is a comment on Sri Lankan crisis. Okay, now let us see Sri Lankan crisis due to political structure. See, what are the points? Hasty decision making, sudden withdrawal of chemical fertilizers. Alright, this was there. One issue, nepotism will all power in hands of one family. Okay, nepotism, all power in hands of one family. Okay, populism with culture of freebies, lack of strategic vision. Okay, very common, very important point. Lack of strategic vision was there. Points against, weakness in economy due to over dependence on tea exports. Of course, economy was very weak, very fragile. COVID-19 pandemic creating a shock. People not having sync with political majority voted for the same family. So this was an educational problem. This was a health problem combined with tourism problem, and this was an economic problem. But this is something which is political to do with it. So something political is being influenced by all these factors. Yes, it is being influenced very well. Alright, this calls for a comparison with Indian system to test vulnerability. Alright, let us compare Indian system. Parliamentary model है India का, इनका presidential model है, semi-presidential if I am not wrong. Alright, correct me if I am wrong in the comment section. Ministers appointed on advice of Prime Minister, President's discretion. ठीक है, Prime Minister appoint करता है ministers, मतलब aid and advice of the Prime Minister, but President का discretion होता है. श्रीलंका में किसका discretion होता है? President का. किसका होता है? President का. श्रीलंका में President discretion is there. Proportional representation is there. PRSTV, here first past the post system is there. FPTP. Alright, bicameral legislation is there. Here unicameral legislature is there. What is there here? Bicameral. What is there here? Unicameral legislature. India needs to learn from Sri Lankan experience and prevent unsustainable debt levels and ensure we learn from this mistake. No, not ours. Okay, हम इन्हीं mistake से सीख ले, खुद की कोई mistake नहीं करें. This is a fair conclusion. Alright. Now, lessons are important. You imbibe more and more lessons. So, a conclusion-oriented approach should be a lesson-oriented approach. हल्का फुल्का, ठीक है? Where are we? Here. The changed nature of civil society due to its professionalization has helped in deepening of democracy but at the cost of participation and accountability. मतलब जो सिविल सोसाइटी का चेंज नेचर है ड्यू टू प्रोफेशनलिज्म, बहुत प्रोफेशनलिज्म आ गया, हैज हेल्प्ड इन डीपनिंग ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी बट एट द कॉस्ट ऑफ पार्टिसिपेशन एंड एट द कॉस्ट ऑफ अकाउंटेबिलिटी. समझ में आ रहा है क्या कह रहा है ये क्वेश्चन? ये क्वेश्चन कह रहा है कि सिविल सोसाइटी का नेचर एक तरीके से इवॉल्व कर रहा है, तो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा प्रोफेशनलाइजेशन आ गया सोसाइटी में, तो भाई डेमोक्रेसी तो डीपन हो ही रही है, पर at the cost of participation also and at the cost of accountability also. Now you must ask why. See what has the topper written. I'll explain the essence of it. Amrita Sen has called the relation between state and civil society that of a cooperative conflict. Alright, there's a cooperative conflict. I did not know this. This is a fact, like you can remember. स्टेट एंड सिविल सोसाइटी के बीच का जो रिलेशन होता है वो एक कोऑपरेटिव कॉन्फ्लिक्ट का होता है. ये मेरे को पता था, पर मेरे को ऐसा नहीं पता था कि अमृत्य सेन ने ऐसा भी कहा है. ऑलराइट, उनकी किताब क्या है, डेवलपमेंट एज फ्रीडम, उसमें कहा है, तो यू विल बी एबल टू ऐड मोर पॉइंट्स. सो कोऑपरेटिव, व्हाट वाज देयर, कोऑपरेटिव कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. State and civil society relationship. Civil society promoting democracy in state via professionalism. Organized civil society, better mobilization of people on issues. So basically how it is helping, like we have copied the question to tell us that how it is helping in promoting professionalism. Alright, so organized है, better mobilization of people है, issues है. नर्मदा बचाओ आंदोलन is the premier example you should be using in this such a question. फिर civil society is already mentioned. क्या यूज़ करेंगे, नर्मदा बचाओ आंदोलन, नर्मदा बचाओ आंदोलन. आगे देखेंगे प्रोफेशनलिज्म, प्रमोटिंग डेटा ड्रिवन पॉलिसी, ASER. यू नो व्हाट इज ASER, निपुण भारत मिशन. दिस इज रिगार्डिंग द स्कूल सर्वेज ऑल्सो. सो डेटा ड्रिवन पॉलिसी सपोर्ट. ऑलराइट, व्हाट, डेटा ड्रिवन पॉलिसी सपोर्ट, निपुण भारत. आगे देखो, प्रोटेक्टिंग राइट्स अगेंस्ट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन बाय मल्टीनेशंस एज सीन इन वेदांता वर्सेस पॉस्को केस, है ना. राइट्स अगेंस्ट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन बाय मल्टीनेशंस एज सीन इन वेदांता वर्सेस पॉस्को केस. अब राइट्स अगेंस्ट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन को एग्जैक्टली सो अपन को केस लॉस का भी थोड़ा ध्यान रख के चलना है. बेटर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ स्कीम्स यूजिंग मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजी एज सीन विथ मनरेगा सोशल ऑडिट इन राजस्थान, है ना. क्या करा हमने, बेटर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ स्कीम विथ मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजी को देखा, मनरेगा सोशल ऑडिट को देखा, ठीक है. इरेडिकेशन ऑफ सोशल क्राइम्स, एग्जाम्पल बचपन बचाओ आंदोलन बाय कैलाश सत्यार्थी, वेरी गुड एग्जाम्पल, है ना. बचपन बचाओ आंदोलन बाय कैलाश सत्यार्थी, नर्मदा बचाओ आंदोलन, दीज आर गुड एग्जाम्पल्स, है ना. दीज आर गुड एग्जाम्पल्स. सो प्रोफेशनलिज्म आया. अब प्रोफेशनलिज्म है तो उसकी वजह से भाई अकाउंटेबिलिटी कैसे अफेक्ट हुई, बताओ. अकाउंटेबिलिटी अपनी कैसे अफेक्ट हुई, अकाउंटेबिलिटी. और उसके साथ साथ वो बोल रहे हैं कि भाई डिसेंट भी अफेक्ट हुआ. डिसेंट कैसे अफेक्ट हुआ कि लोगों की पार्टिसिपेशन कम हुई. पार्टिसिपेशन कम नहीं हुई, वो जारी है, बट द थिंग इज द थिंग्स हैव बीन फॉर्मलाइज्ड. एक प्रोफेशनलिज्म आ गया है. अब वो डिसेंट उस टाइप का नहीं रहा कि वो लूज डिसेंट है, अपने अपने हिसाब से. देखो, प्रोफेशनलिज्म हैम्परिंग द पार्टिसिपेशन एंड अकाउंटेबिलिटी. वॉलंटियरिज्म रिड्यूसिंग अमंग यूथ. प्रोफेशनलिज्म हैम्परिंग पार्टिसिपेशन. कोई वॉलंटियर ही नहीं कर रहा है. अभी अपन क्या लिखेंगे, अभी आंसर लिखेंगे तो अपन थोड़ा सा मेंशन कर सकते हैं कॉकरोच जनता पार्टी के बारे में। ऑलराइट, देखो अब subservience to foreign policy interests, subservience to foreign policy interests as shown in IB report of 2015, no accountability. All right, so lack of transparency, we are only 10% file annual returns, मतलब फाइल भी कम रिटर्न हो रही है। फाइल किस में कम रिटर्न हो रही है, जो CS अपने सिविल सोसाइटी के केसेस हैं। तो लैक ऑफ ट्रांसपेरेंसी है चीज़ों में, डिफिकल्टी इन ब्रिंगिंग डाउन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्सपेंडिचर ड्यू टू प्रोफेशनलिज्म, नीड फॉर मध्यम मार्ग, नीड फॉर the R is to work with Madhyam Marg for Sarvodaya. Alright, simple conclusion, need for the R is to work with Madhyam Marg, work with Madhyam Marg for Sarvodaya. Alright, ये conclusion है, ठीक है। need for R मध्यम मार्ग, मिडल पाथ। ऑलराइट, मिडल पाथ फॉर सर्वोदया। आगे बढ़े, वेयर आर वी आर हियर, आ जाओ, ठीक है। While National Green Tribunal has made immense contribution to protection of environment, various structural and functional issues have limited its effectiveness. भाई नेशनल ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल ने तो खूब सारा कंट्रीब्यूशन किया, पर बहुत सारे स्ट्रक्चरल और फंक्शनल इश्यूज हैं उसकी इफेक्टिवनेस में। अपन क्वासी जुडिशियल बॉडीज की बात कर रहे हैं। देखो, नेशनल ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल वाज फाउंड बाय NGT एक्ट ऑफ 2008। क्या याद रखोगे आप? NGT एक्ट ऑफ 2008, NGT एक्ट 2008, 2008, अरे 2008, ओके, हो गया याद। अब देखो, सिंस देन इट हैज प्लेड एन इम्पॉर्टेंट रोल इन अपहोल्डिंग एनवायरमेंटलिज्म, बिल्कुल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले किया है, क्यों नहीं प्ले किया, पर बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, स्ट्रक्चरल इश्यूज है। कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन की बात कर लेते, सबसे पहले तारीफ करेंगे होल्डिंग गवर्नमेंट्स अकाउंटेबल इन दिल्ली पोल्यूशन केस, यस। अपहोल्डिंग राइट टू लाइफ, आर्टिकल 21 ऑफ द पीपल, बहुत बढ़िया। अपहोल्डिंग राइट्स ऑफ ट्राइबल्स, Vedanta versus POSCO case, forest rights, okay, tribals as in Vedanta versus POSCO case, forest rights. All right, you know, I have also not read this Vedanta versus POSCO case. Protecting wildlife in spirit of Article 45A, asking Jugnu on electric poles to protect Indian great bustard, something like that. Alright, Article 45A. Clean rivers like the case of Ganga cleaning plan, very important. Okay, issues with National Green Tribunal. Now let us talk about the various structural issues. Less number of members, never functioned as full capacity, 10 plus 10 members. Full capacity never functioned. Check this. Evoking deadline, dismissing of applications is happening, lack of expertise is there, okay. Then what is the example? Subramanian hydropower case, something like that. Failure of objectivity, Mopai airport, as seen in Mopai airport case. What is happening in Mopai airport case? A lot of jungle has been cleared and has been damaged to make a airport in Goa, and then there is failure of objectivity happening. There is no land allocation, that particular jungle displaced is gone forever because of Mopa airport. So this is an important point. Less number of members are there. So the need is to reform NGT with environmental experts and fill vacancies to uphold its role and save the environment. It is very important to save the environment and uphold the role. It is the savior of the environment. What is NGT? NGT is the savior of the environment. Now let us continue. Question 6 says, policy of reservation started to provide equality of opportunities, but it has fallen victim to political opportunism. Yes, very true statement. Critically examine the success of affirmative actions in the country. So this is the question. Success of affirmative actions in the country. The recent Haryana bill reserving 75% positions in private companies for localities created a turmoil. Alright. for local people basically. All right. Success of reservation policy. The representation of women in local bodies has increased to 46%. Success की बात कर रहे हैं हम, around 46% you can say. SC/STs are getting better access to education and jobs. All right. What are we talking? We are talking about the successes. Okay. Better access to education and jobs. Upheld the spirit of constitutionalism. Article 46 weaker sections. This is important. Article 46 weaker section. 4, 6, 46 weaker sections, ensuring equality of opportunity, held in Indira Savne case. Alright, OBC case, Indira Savne case, equality of opportunity. However, it has not been all successful due to fallen prey of populism. Populism policies, dominant caste demanding reservation like Marathas. Failure to bring out caste census. No data-based, already court rules and judgments in various cases. Data-based चीजें नहीं चल रहे. Without social empowerment led to सरपंच पति. This is very important point. It should have come earlier. सरपंच पति की बात कर रहे हैं. So what is happening? Proxies are being appointed. This is a problem. Justice Rohini Commission highlighted disparity. 90% of the jobs cornered by 27% of the OBCs. Feeling of relative deprivation, EW categorization, pressure groups developed for perpetuity, no more temporary need of the RS to de-reserve via social mapping and promote gainful employment based on skills, leveraging growing startups. So the conclusion is what? Futuristic good conclusion. We can learn from this. All right. Another question is, unless the factors that prevent effective and full participation of persons you always try to make an all-dimensional thing. Try conclusion. Cover all dimensions. Try to cover all dimensions. Okay. Unless the factors that prevent effective and full participation of persons with disability in political and public life are addressed, the goal of inclusiveness and empowerment will remain elusive. ठीक है, ये जब तक address नहीं होती है factors that prevent effective and full participation of persons with disability in political and public life, the goal of inclusiveness and empowerment will remain elusive. See, persons with disability make up to 2.2% of our population. This is important to remember. All right. 2011 सेंसस. However, there is no PWD in Lok Sabha, no political participation. So this is a stark reminder. Factors affecting full participation of PWDs, social stigma is their attitude of pity towards them, है ना, अपन sympathy versus empathy वाला thing. ठीक है. Discrimination in employment, business standards study by PWDs and top companies. Here you can write about that. Cafe also, people with wheelchair, lack of ticket, even PWDs, no political participation, lack of winning probability. Government policy flaws, still reservation based on old data, disability types. This hampers the goal of inclusive development. These are the problems. What are these? These are the problems we have mentioned. This hampers the goal of inclusive development and can shave off around 5 to 7% of the GDP. World Bank data. Way ahead care, disability, inclusion and accountability. Alright, inside the policy making. Learn from West Bengal. Alright. States showed up in Mind Rights of PWD Act 2016. Empowerment by education. So education is a very important point you can mention nearly everywhere. And yes, Rajya Sabha Article 80. ठीक है, President can nominate PWD in Rajya Sabha Article 80. This is a good you can say suggestion. Alright. Adoption of Incheon strategy goals of inclusivity. And empowerment in government efforts. This will help to achieve the constitutional goals of Articles 41 and 46. Criminal justice system had made the process itself a punishment, leading to prolonged incarceration of under trials, highlighting the reasons for large number of under trial prisoners. Examine the desirability of dedicated bail law. Alright, so of course the under trials are a very big problem, very big issue. See, constitutional justice system in India is burdened by insensitive policy and large pendency of cases, as Father Stan Swami denied to Straw and Sipper 4.7 crore cases pending. National Judicial Data Grid. Alright, around 4.7 crore cases are pending, and that is a issue. You can check this. Alright, reasons for large number of under trial prisoners. Large case pendency with 75% cases pending for 1 year due to low judge to population ratio. Vacancies up to 50% as in Patna High Court. Slow police department, shortages of personnel. Baswan committee did this recommendation, yes, of shortage of personnel and dual burden of law and order and investigation. This is Plalimat committee recommendations. Bail as an exception and not as a rule being a reality. Bail should be a rule and jail should be exception. Bail bond money making bails unaccessible. Alright. Poverty angle you can add. Desirability of bail law, large number of under trials, violation of human rights and Article 20 spirit. Ensure bail as a rule as highlighted by Supreme Court. Torture and inhuman conditions faced by prisoners. Death of father-son duo in custody in Tamil Nadu 2021 में हुआ था. Creates collective punishment scenario as family too suffers. Need for RS prison reforms as by Kiran Bedi to promote human rights and prevent radicalization of prisoners while promote bail law. Alright, this is very important. We have learned a lot of things from this particular session. In order to watch more such sessions, keep following us. You can subscribe to the channel if you want, and we will come up with more sessions of this particular series of Mains Darpan, and we will try to learn as much as possible. Thank you so much.